If you've made it this far, it means you read my post, and I thank you for it. You're now intrigued and want to watch this video too. Thank you again. The reason I decided to actually do this is that I can show you live what the typical searching journey is of someone like you or me, for example, looking to rent a villa in Skopelos this summer. This, of course, could apply to any other type of accommodation anywhere else in any other country. As promised in my post, I want to see whether I read your mind correctly about what you do when you search for your accommodation. So you've opened up Google and you would type a term, a searching term, something like Skopelos Villas for rent, and you hit enter, waiting for the results. And what do we see here? First of all, I'm just going to go through the first page of Google page results for obvious reasons, and I'm going to concentrate on the big monopoly companies that sprout up and dominate most of the first page from Google's results. As you can see here, we have quite a big number. If you've ever noticed this first small print here, on any search you do, it says about 114,000 results in 0.5 seconds. Now, I have seen even bigger results, like 300,000-400,000 results for similar terms to Skopelos Villas for rent. I decided to use this particular phrase today just because to me it seems a more obvious phrase that someone would use to look for these villas here in Skopelos. So nevertheless, we get 114,000 results. Now, if you let that number sink in for a moment, what do you realize? You realize that straight off the bat, your search for an accommodation is not going to be an easy job. Even for an island the size of Skopelos, okay, we're not the smallest, tiniest island, but we're not the biggest either, we still get 114,000 results. And to shift through them all, it will be impossible. You will need months and probably be a robot to do it all. So what do? You look at the first page. What do you see when you look at the first page after searching for Skopelos Villas for rent? The first big company comes up. Now, you may never have heard of them, the Thinking Traveler. They're fairly new in this game, less than a decade, I presume. I know they say here it's 16 years of experience, but I seem to, I actually know firsthand that they've designed a website and they're geared more towards super luxury villas, much less than 16 years. Anyhow, these people have made it to the very top, the very first result. Can you guess why? Well, can you see this little icon here? It's called an ad. Most of you will probably know. This stands for an advertisement. So this company has paid Google to create an advertisement. They have their own specialized teams in this company, and they make their own, obviously, advertisements. And they pay Google a very hefty amount on a constant basis, not just a one-off ad that you may see from people like me and a small business owner of any kind. No, they have a regular budget, a yearly, monthly budget that they spend and feed Google with a lot of money to get such top results. So if you knew this or not, by clicking on these guys here, you're actually charging them. So every time you click on any link that has this ad, small square on the left here, you're actually charging the Thinking Traveler or any other company, because that's what it's Google's paying strategy called pay-per-click. So they get charged whenever a user clicks on their ad. They don't care. They have a pretty huge budget, and that's what it's there for, to get more traffic to their website by people clicking through them intentionally or not. Let's move down the line and we see, what do we see? Another quite a big monopolized villa renter property called VRBO. Again, you see another ad here. I'm sure they are spending a lot of money too. Next down the line, we see our home away from home. Again, this is another ad. So one, two, three ads. They have a huge portfolio of every kind of villa, cottage, house, rental, wherever you are. Again, an ad. And guess what? Fourth down the line, another ad from our beloved Airbnb. Now, I'm sure you've read in my blog post what I think of companies like this, like Airbnb. I'm not going to go into it now, but as you can see, this is another sponsored listing here. That's what they call sponsored, because they're actually paid listings. It's in the same idea as what you used to pay your local newspaper or national newspaper to put an advertisement in one of their pages, in one of their columns. It's the same thing with Google. The first organic result that comes down on this first page, and it happens to be the fifth down the line, is from Booking.com. Booking.com, I'm pretty sure 9 out of 10 people know them. They've been around for, I don't know, a good 15, 20, maybe more years. They're huge, globally positioned company. They have every type of accommodation type everywhere, all over us. From house, they've recently gone into villas as well, hotels, apartments, rooms to rent, I don't know, tents to rent, you name it, they have it. I'm not too fond of them. I explain the reasons why briefly again in my blog post. They're very wrong company for a villa rental owner like me. But they're dominating and they get top results constantly. Again, down the line, another organic result by the same company, Booking.com. Again, here there's another result from HomeAway. You see they have both a sponsored and an organic listing appear here, which is only natural. I mean, they have, I don't know, a gazillion properties all over the world with keywords advertising these properties. Naturally, Google is going to give them top page results. Down the line, we have again this White Key Villas. I seem to know these guys are pretty luxurious. They have a pretty luxurious portfolio of villas scattered throughout Greece. Our beloved TripAdvisor. God, we can't do anything without TripAdvisor these days. They're probably my most hated company. And I know hated is a very strong word, but I have had so many hard times with them. They have, the last couple of years, they have bought pretty much every single other company like HomeAway, like Flipkey. I'm pretty sure they're going to end up buying Airbnb as well at some point. And they've put them all together. They've monopolized and dominated this market in a very sort of strong way that it's nearly impossible. They're struggling really. The villa owner, the individual business owner, they're making it really hard, a real struggle for them to survive. Airbnb, again, further down the page with another organic result. Pretty Greek Villas, maybe if you're from the UK, you're watching this from the UK, you may know these guys. Again, they have, they're like a tour operator. They have quite a lot of villas in quite a few countries, if I'm not mistaken. And they approach owners. If they like their villa, they give them a set amount of money per season, per year, and they use their villa exclusively for their clientele. Again, you can see in my blog post what I think of similar business schemes like tour operators. jamesvillas.co.uk, same case, even bigger than these guys here. They use, again, the same sort of business model, and they have become pretty big as well. What do we have in terms of big companies, global companies again. As we approach the end of the first page results in Google, we see more sponsored content and listings. Google has recently started to um, list paid ads towards the bottom of their page as well, which wasn't the case until a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago. We have some other company called Holiday Homes, pretty similar to James Villas and Pretty Greek Villas, the same sort of company. TUI Villas here, another huge company. TUI is now doing villas as well as hotels, as well as apartments, as well as God knows what else. Big game company as well. They're pretty much everywhere you look. And we've reached the end of Google's first page results. Now, what is it I'm trying to prove here? I'm trying to prove to you how easy it is to fall into this trap. What is a trap? Of just sticking onto this first page. For those of you who are more tech savvy and have done a bit of research and are more frequent travelers, you may know the game here. You may go past number one page and go and look to number 2, 3, or 4, depending on the time you have. But I'm pretty sure the majority of you is just going to stick through here. Maybe you don't have as much time to look forever for an accommodation, and it's all convenient here on this first page to follow one of these guys. They make it pretty easy. Google makes it pretty easy because it gets paid a lot of money from these companies, and they make sure you stick to this first page. Well, don't stick to it. Go beyond. Even if you do, don't click on the big monopolies that you see here. Try and visit a website owned by an owner. But even if you still want to click on the big monopolies because of some, I don't know, universal magic power pulling you towards them, use them mostly to do your research. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you see something you like, a listing you like in their page, a villa, let's say, since we're talking about villas and Skopelos, copy the name of that villa. Open up a new tab and paste that name of the villa in Google and see if the owner actually has a website. Well, if you ask me, they should. It's a serious business. Nobody should be without an online professional identity these days. It's the name of the game. I mean, you have to have your own identity. So if they have a website, that's good news. And my advice is that if you want to have that security when you're booking your holiday accommodation, and we all do, I do too, trust me, I want to have some sort of security when I know I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to pay someone the money to live at their house, to live at their hotel even. But there's certain things you can look to find out whether this business is legit or not, because that's what it all comes down to, picking out a business that is legitimate. So the first sort of favorable sign to look out for is whether this property has a website. If they do, that's one great sign to tick in your security checklist. Second, look out for some social proof. Do they have any? Does that business belong to any of well-known social networks like Facebook, like Twitter, like Instagram, Pinterest, you name it? Every individual business should belong to a social network as an entity. Look out at their followers. Do they have any? I mean, they should have at least, 100 or more. That's another great sign to tick off in your security checklist if they do have a social following. That's getting now even more robust for you. Third, do they have any past client testimonials? I mean, do they have any people commenting on their website about how good or maybe bad experience they've had? Hopefully it will all be good. Um, do they have any people talking about their experiences with this particular business in the business's social media accounts? That's another great sign. I mean, you can even look at places like my beloved TripAdvisor, which we can't seem to do anything without these days. Check it out just in case, just to see if there are any reviews there. Um, these are clearly I mean, there are more signs to determine the existence of a holiday rental business, if that business actually exists, or if it's just somebody, I don't know, playing with you. Hopefully, you haven't had any such experiences. But if you check out at least the above three that I mentioned, the whether they have a website, whether they have social proof, whether they are past client testimonials on their website or on their social media accounts, you should be good to go. You shouldn't hesitate about booking with somebody that has these things all checked off in your checklist. Because guess what? Every time you click one of these guys, um, you make them more and more powerful. You make them more dominant. You are making it easier for them to completely annihilate any small business, an individual business owner that has a villa, that has an apartment complex, I don't know, and you make it pretty impossible for these people to stand out and compete with these guys. And every time you click and book through them, you're killing more and more a smaller business. I don't want to go any more into all of this since I analyze it pretty extensively in my blog post. I'd like to thank you for watching all the way here, and thank you for the time. And I would love for you to write out any comments below in my webpage, and tell me your experiences, whether you had a bad experience. I would definitely love to hear it. Thank you again very much. Have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.